Good morning, friends, and welcome to the first ever online service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Stony Brook. Welcome so much to all of you who are watching. We're glad to have you joining our beloved community this morning. My name is June Cerveny, and I'm happy to serve as Worship Associate this morning with Deb Little, our Director of Religious Education. Our music will be provided by our own Dan Weymouth. Virtual worship will be a little bit different, also familiar. We will still light our chalice, and I encourage you to do so if you have one at home, or you could light a tea light or a candle. Just find a way to be together even though we're apart. There will be music, and I certainly hope that you will sing along with us. After we have finished this morning, we will leave the chat function open for a bit so that we can have online coffee hour. But for right now, I just invite you to enter into the sacred space of worship with the sounding of the morning bell.
Good morning, all. Our chalice lighting words. We pause this morning from the chaos of the world to reclaim the beauty of this community that carries us through our week. We lift this community onto our shoulders with pride and grace-filled expectations for ourselves and for our children and for our children's children. Our opening words are by the Reverend Erica Hewitt. Whether you're here because worshiping with us is part of your routine, or whether you feel like our country has been stopped in its tracks and it's impossible to return to normalcy, on this morning we gather to proclaim that we belong to one another and that others belong to us. Broken hearts are welcome here. Anxious spirits are welcome here. Minds whirring faster than a racing engine, uncertain what to think. Stubborn egos that sometimes trip us up, cementing us to opinions. Fragile, shell-shocked souls. Say it with me. They are welcome here. Yours, mine, and everyone else's. This is not because this community will fix it through easy solutions or the right way forward. This is because as a liberal religious congregation, we have something far more fragile and far more powerful than that. Our need to be together, our need to reconnect to the life-giving source that moves within and among us, and our need to make one another a little bit braver and wiser before returning to the service of life. Our tale for all ages today is called The Invisible String, and it's by Patrice Karst. Eliza and Jeremy, the twins, were asleep one calm and quiet night. Suddenly, it began to rain very hard. The thunder was so loud, it woke them up. "Mommy, Mommy," they cried out as they ran to find her. "We're scared." "It's just a storm," she said. "Don't worry, go back to bed." "But we want to stay close to you. We're scared." "You know that we're always together, no matter what," Mommy said. "But how can we be close to you when we're in there and you're in here?" asked Jeremy. Mommy held up her hands. "This is how." Rubbing their eyes, the twins came closer to see. "When I was very young, like you are, my mommy told me about this invisible string." "I don't see a string," said Jeremy. "You don't need to see the invisible string. People who love each other are always connected by a very special string made of love." "But if you can't see it, how do you know it's there?" asked Eliza. "You feel it in your heart," said Mommy. "And that's how you know that you are always connected to everyone you love. When you're at school and missing me, your love travels down the invisible string until I feel it tug at my heart." Jeremy said, "And your love travels back to us when you tug the string." "That's right," said Mommy. "Does our dog Alfie have a string?" asked Jeremy. "She sure does," said Mommy. "And best friends?" asked Eliza. "Yes." "How far can the string reach?" asked Jeremy. "Pretty far," said Mommy. "Can it reach me if I'm a submarine captain deep in the ocean?" asked Jeremy. "Yes." "What if I'm an astronaut out in space?" asked Eliza. "Even there," said Mommy. "Does the string go away when you are mad at us?" asked Eliza. "No," said Mommy. "Love is stronger than anger." "What about when we're older and can't agree? Like about what movie to see or when to go to bed?" asked Jeremy. "Oh," said Mommy, "bed. That's where you need to be." She took the twins back to their beds and tucked them in. They slept quietly all night, even as the storm raged. As they slept, they started dreaming of all the invisible strings they had, and their friends had, and the friends of their friends had. And they could clearly see that no one is ever alone. I invite you to take a moment to see the invisible strings connecting you to your family, your friends, and this fellowship. None of us are alone.
I invite you now to enter into a time of meditation. Take a moment to still your body and sit comfortably supported wherever you are. In this moment, there is no other place we need to go, no other thing we need to do. Perhaps you want to place your hand over your beautiful beating heart, your heart connected by those invisible strings of love to so many other hearts. And as we do this, we breathe in. And we breathe out. And we breathe in. And we breathe out. We send our loving thoughts out to our families, our closest loves, our dearest ones. And we breathe in and out. We send our loving thoughts to our fellowship community and to all the circles of our friends. And we breathe in and we breathe out. In and out. We send our loving thoughts to those people that we might ordinarily encounter in our days, to the server at our coffee shop, to our postal carrier, maybe to the cashier at our supermarket. And we breathe in and out. We send our loving thoughts to all who are ill, who are suffering, who are lonely, who are afraid. And we breathe in. And we breathe out. We send our loving thoughts to embrace our hurting world and hold it gently in our hearts as we breathe in and we breathe out. Blessed be. We move to music.
Today, we gather online for the first time ever. Like all of you, Dan and I are mostly at home. We're finding time to cook and dine together and to take walks with our beloved dog, Alfie. These are things we often are not able to do, so self-quarantine is a gift in some ways. Every day we are sharing things we find, often online, that make us laugh or feed our spirits. We talk with our daughters and friends. We are Zooming lots of folks, a verb for our time. And we're afraid too. We feel vulnerable. Dan and I are in the stay home, you are at risk age. As you might imagine, this goes very much against our just do it way of being. We've had to live with our vulnerabilities, especially since Dan broke his neck about 4 years ago. But we are surviving and adjusting and loving and thriving. And much of what keeps us thriving is you, the people in this congregation. In our community, so many have sprung into action to keep us connected. We have a pandemic response team. The pastoral assistants are connecting to others via phone calls. The worship associates are holding virtual meetings and planning services moving forward. I'm sending things like how to make a chalice from an orange peel to our religious education families. Nothing is the same, and yet many of these things have a familiar rhythm. They are the ways we always keep connected. Even before we were all asked to keep our social distance from one another, I had been reading and thinking about belonging. I discovered Brené Brown, the amazing and loving professor and researcher who studies belonging. Here is something she has found in her research. She says, at the very heart of belonging is spirituality. By spirituality, I mean the deeply held belief that we're inextricably connected to each other by something greater than us. And that thing that is greater than us is rooted in love and compassion. That there's something bigger than us and that we are connected to each other in a way that cannot be severed. To say this again, in the words of Krista Tippett, who interviewed Brené Brown for her show On Being. While the inextricable connection between human beings cannot be severed, it can be forgotten. And we need moments of collective joy, and we need moments and experiences of collective pain. We need to find ways to come together in those moments. So it seems like we are entering a period of collective pain in our communities, our churches, our country. But all around me, I see and hear so many people reaching out in the ways that are safe for them to stay connected and to help each other. And this is truly collective joy, though it may be harder for us to perceive right now. Our inextricable connection cannot be broken, and we are not and will not forget it. We in this fellowship are together. We will continue to love and care for each other. No one will be forgotten.
As we bring our worship service to a close this morning, and as the chalice is extinguished, I share these words from John Robbins. Help us to stay connected to our hearts and to each other. Help us to see the good in ourselves and each other. Help us to serve the spirit of goodness in all that we meet. Help us to restore love upon this earth. May we all be fed. May we all be healed. May we all be loved. Amen.